Hi, it's Commodore Sam coming to you from LA, Lower Alabama. What I've got for you today is the answer to the question that I've seen online. Do I really need JiffyDOS for my new Commodore 64 Ultimate from Commodore.net? Well, my opinion is yes, you absolutely need it. I'm going to tell you and show you why, but also show you how to get it, how to install it. And so let's get started. Okay, here we are at our Windows computer. Why are we starting here? Because we need to go purchase um, JiffyDOS and download the file and install it. So that's what we're going to do first. Obviously, got to do that before we can go and actually use it on our new Commodore Ultimate 64 Ultimate. So the first thing you need to do is go to the address go4retro.com, go4retro.com. This is one of the official ways to get JiffyDOS in my preferred way. And so you would go to this website, you go to their online store, and you'll see all of their products, and they have some really great products. But if you'll scroll down a little bit, you'll see several JiffyDOSes in here, and it can be a little bit confusing as to which one. But right now, he's got a sale going on for a bundle, and for specifically for us new Ultimate users. And so he's got a discounted price for the Ultimate ROM Overlay Pro Pack. And he's got the ROM Overlay Standard Pack. And so you can choose whichever one you want there. The Pro Pack comes with just all the different drives that your U64 or your 64U supports. So it comes with not only the one that's the kernel ROM that is like for the computer itself, but then you've got the three emulated drives: the 1541, the 1571, and the 1581 emulated drives. And so it comes with the JiffyDOS ROMs for that as well. The standard pack just comes with the 64's kernel ROM and the 1541 ROM. You can certainly get away with that. Obviously, most things are on a D64 or a PRG, and they and both of those will work fine with the 1541. But I prefer to have them all, and so I get them all. Choose your poison there. Now, once you place the order and go through the shop, which I've already done, and pay and all the good things that normally happen when you go to online shopping, you will get an email from Retro Innovations, and it'll be a receipt for your order, and you will have this download link. You click on that, and it'll take you to the website to where you can go and you can download this file. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to download into my downloads folder. And so I'm going to open up that folder, and here is that file along with some other files. I'm just going to extract that right here, do all this hard stuff or easy hard stuff here on my PC. So I'm just going to extract, and then you can see that I've got these bin files in here. Now, again, this is the 1541-2 bin. So that's the Jiffy ROM for the 1541. Here's the Jiffy ROM for the 1571. Here's the one for the 1581, and then here's the one for the kernel ROM. And so I'm going to take those files and I'm going to stick them on this USB drive because I need to transfer it over. There's multiple ways to transfer over. I'm going to assume you hadn't done all the FTP setup and everything else that you can do on this. We're just going to do it the old-fashioned way and sneaker net it over with a USB drive. So I'm going to plug this USB into my deal here. I could take the little memory card out and plug it direct, but I'm just going to stick it in the USB. And so here I have this empty USB drive, and so I'm just going to move all of these over to this other this drive, and then I'm going to eject that, of course, and once that's ejected, I can close all of this, and I can take this out. All right. So at this point, we are done with the PC side of it, and we're going to turn on our 64 Ultimate. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this into the USB on the Ultimate. I'm going to turn the Ultimate on, and my monitor automatically switches for that, and so I've got this in there, so I'm going to press the multifunction button over here to the side. I could also hit the Control Commodore or the Commodore Restore to get into that. I'm just so used to using the button. But anyway, so right now I've got it on the file, so I can go with next thing I need to do. Before I do it, I want to show you, if I go in here to memory and ROMs, you're going to see that I've got a kernel that looks like this. I've got a basic ROM that looks like this, a Carrigen that looks like this, right? And then I've got all these ROMs for the different drives in there and saved for everything. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just showing you what it looks like right now. So I'm going to go back one. I'm going to go up here to the file browser, and I'm going to go into the USB drive that I just stuck in there. And so here is all of my bins, right? So all I need to do is first, I'll go ahead. I'm just going to do these in kind of logical Commodore order. So kernel ROM, I'm going to hit enter on that, right? And then it does most of the work for me, set as the kernel ROM. Pretty slick, okay? I'm going to go up to the 1541 drive, hit enter, load it as set as the 1541 ROM, okay? I'm going to go to the 1571, same thing. I'm going to set it as 1571 ROM, and then 1581, and I'm going to set it as the 1581 ROM. So now at this point, if I go back into memory and ROMs, you'll see that I've got JiffyDOS as a kernel ROM. I've got JiffyDOS on all three of my drives for drive A. I can do that also for drive B, but I'm just going to do it, leave it as drive A for now. So you can see I've got all of that set and ready to go. Now, one thing about JiffyDOS, you're going to find out when we get to it, that it does speed up a lot, almost all games, almost all programs. So that disk access, it speeds it up greatly. But there are a few, right? Just like in Commodore world, nothing's ever 100% compatible. And so there's a few games and stuff that doesn't work with JiffyDOS. Also, tape support is not there with JiffyDOS, so you might need to disable it sometime to get to move JiffyDOS away. You know, on the old ones, you had a little switch on some of them. On others, you hold the restore key down to switch in a switchless environment. So original hardware had that kind of setup to where you could switch it on and off. The Ultimate makes it pretty easy as well. So anytime you want to go and change it, you can. There's multiple ways of doing it, but I'm just going to take you back to this same place. And if I go down here and say, okay, well, I need to load a program on my 1541, and it is not compatible with JiffyDOS. So I just hit there and I choose it and I just take it off, right? And then when I get out, I save it, and now I don't have JiffyDOS on my 1541. Depending on the game, you might have to go up here and do the same thing to the kernel ROM, and you just go down here and choose whatever kernel you've got set up in there, and there you have it. So now I would have no JiffyDOS on a 1541 at all. I could remove all of them if I wanted to. But and then of course when I get out, I'm going to save, and so at this point it's saved and it's ready to go. I'm not 100% clear if I now have to do a reset of the machine or not. I guess we could test that, but I didn't want to make this video long. I typically don't ever take it off of JiffyDOS, so I don't do a lot of swapping back and forth. Usually only when I'm testing something do I do that. So now that it's off, though, I want to show you what file access looks like. So before I do that, I want to go down here and show you what drive A looks like. So drive A is enabled, and it's on 1541, right? And it's on bus ID 10. That's just because I sometimes have some drive 8s hooked to it, and so I get it out of the way. So it's on 10, and if it's a 1541, in other words, if it's in 1541 mode, it's going to be no JiffyDOS. So I wanted to show you that first, how to do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to load up a couple of programs and show you what that looks like without JiffyDOS, and then show you what it looks like with JiffyDOS. Now I've got some programs loaded on the SD card on this machine, and so didn't mean to get all the way out of there. So I'm going to go up here to the file browser, and I'm going to go into my SD card and go into a D64. Let's see, what is a good one? Let's go. Got so many to choose from. I'm going to go down to one of my favorites, and that is Gyrus. That happens to be the bottom one. So I'm going to go Gyrus, and there's my D64. I'm going to run this disk. So I'm gonna mount it instead of run it, because I want to do that first. So at this point it's mounted, and it's mounted on drive 10. So if I load, or right now I do not have JiffyDOS. You'll notice that the basic screen here doesn't say anything about JiffyDOS. So if I load, and if I type correctly, star, comma 8, comma 1, and then that'll be your first mistake, comma 10, comma 1. And then you'll notice how long this takes, and I'm not gonna cut this. I'm gonna show you real time how fast it loads, and I'm gonna use the same game both times. That way you can really get a feel for what it's like to not have JiffyDOS, because by default the 64U or Ultimate is a cycle exact machine. Now, what does that mean? That means that Gideon worked very hard to make the emulated drive inside of here match a real 1541, so that it would be the most compatible it could be. Now, you noticed how long that took to load, right? It took quite a long time to load. All right. Now, if and I'll run it just to make sure it works, because we're not quite done. It does some trickery and all that. Shows the stuff on the screen. Man, my screen's actually dirty. And so you can see Gyrus is running. So anyway, it works. Now I'm going to reset, and I'm going to go into back into memory and ROMs, and I'm going to go in, and I'm going to say JiffyDOS for my kernel ROM, and I'm going to put it back to JiffyDOS on my 1541 too, and I'm going to save these. Okay, and just to know, I'm going to cycle the computer. Okay, so and then we're going to load that up again. So you'll notice once I have rebooted here that JiffyDOS is in the system here, and if I go to drive 10 and I do, if you know JiffyDOS commands, JiffyDOS is a whole lot more than just a speeder program or whatever. It has a lot of features, and so I suggest that you do some research on the internet on JiffyDOS in general. JiffyDOS is a very powerful program, so it's worth more than just speeding up your programs. But if you do, this is a JiffyDOS command that switches the default drive to 10. Okay, and then this at here by itself just reads the channel, the error channel on the drive, and whenever you boot a Commodore drive up initially before ever accessing it, so that it might have an error or something like that, it will state the ROM version that's on there, and so you can see JiffyDOS is running on drive 10. So we got JiffyDOS on the kernel, we've got JiffyDOS running on drive 10 for the 1541 ROM. All right, and so we're going to go into the file browser, go back into Gyrus, and if you use the F5, you can just page all the way down to the bottom, right, and go into Gyrus, hit enter there, and we're going to mount the disk because I don't want to run it and add that into it, right? So now JiffyDOS is in here, so I've got some wedge commands that I can now use. I could still use the load command, and it would load faster. Maybe I should do that, but I want to show a nice feature of JiffyDOS is I can really, if I just want to run the first program on a disk, I just hit the up arrow and the asterisk, those two keys right there, and hit enter, and you'll see how much faster this loads than what loaded before. And it goes ahead and runs it as well, where I typed in run before. And there it is. We're in that quick. And you remember how long it took before. That's what JiffyDOS will do, even just using the internal drive on your Commodore Ultimate. So do you need JiffyDOS if all you have is a 64 Ultimate? My opinion is yes, you should get it just for what it gives you on this computer. Now, if you have other drives that have JiffyDOS in there, then it's even more powerful. If you have an SD to IEC from the future was 8-bit or some other seller, right? If you have an SD drive, Go for Retro makes a really nice one. I've got one in a case. I'll show you that. This Go for Retro makes a nice one too, and I've got it in a case that and I use it quite a bit. What I was trying to show here was the cheapest one, right, and then maybe the most expensive hardware that you can buy for from a drive standpoint in the Commodore world. But this is a good medium high quality SD drive that Go for Retro sells. I highly recommend it. But if I wanted to access this, I'm just going to reset here and show you what I'm going to power off again just to clean everything up, right? And remember, JiffyDOS is still loaded. Now, if I have a drive like this instead of a 1541, and I want to load it, so still in JiffyDOS, so I can still do this here, but this is drive 11. So the first thing I want to do is set my drive to 11, and then I'm going to run the file browser that's on here. And then I'm going to go, this is just some files that came with the SD to IEC. I don't know if Gyrus is on here. It is not. I didn't pick one of these necessarily to run, but I'll run this Galaxian, I'm assuming is what that is. And boom, you can see how much faster an SD to IEC can be. And I really should run that off of the other to see, but it's not, I'm not trying to show you SD to IEC, you know, but I am trying to, and, you know, just show you what it looks like. This right here would not be as fast without JiffyDOS, right? So JiffyDOS severely changes the mix with being able to run these external drives as well. So whether it's internal, whether it's external, you still would want to have a JiffyDOS on your 64 Ultimate. I'm going to power off one more time, and this time I'm just going to we're going to run off the hard drive here, and so that is drive 12, and I'm going to run C64 OS, and you can see how fast this operating system loads. I just have a minimal amount of RAM REU running on here. I think it might be set at 2, and not the full 16. I didn't even check that before I started doing the video and see what I had left it on. But if you hadn't checked out C64 OS, then I highly recommend it. It has a nice file browser where you can navigate your different drives, and you know, you can check out everything that's on you know, the different drives, and you know, whether it be the different partitions. You know, this has got a C64 OS partition and then a Super HD 4000. If you went to 1541, you'll notice that that internal drive is there as well, and actually I don't have anything on it. It sees it, but there's not a disk inserted, so I would have to do the disk insertion, you know, to actually browse that. But my point is that you know, I can go here in 64 OS, and because of JiffyDOS, C64 OS can access the CMD hard drive very fast, or it'll run just off of an SD to IEC. Again, whether you're going the cheapest route, you know, this is somewhere in the neighborhood. Let's just say it's less than $50. And then this here is a little bit more than that, but worth it. But you can sit here and work your Commodore to its absolute ultimate. You know, it's a 64 Ultimate. Do you want, and it just becomes more ultimate with JiffyDOS. So I highly recommend it. That's all for the demo today. Just, you know, wanted to show you why you need JiffyDOS on your Commodore 64 Ultimate. It speeds up internal drives. It speeds up external drives. It gives you more commands and features than I can talk about in this video. So stay tuned, and maybe I'll bring other stuff to you on this. Thanks, and have a happy New Year.